Hello, my hearts. It's 4:33 in the morning, and I'm coming at you with this reading for this wonderful individual because I've been awake since about 2 a.m. And I'm like, what better to do with my time than to offer readings? So this is what we're going to do. Now, because it's 4:33, I'm going to be a little bit more quiet because my home and my household is still sleeping. So I hope you can hear me, but I also have some tunes going on in the background, and it's 4:33 a.m. I'm not, or 4:34 now, but I'm not willing to turn those off because I like them. Okay, so this reading is because I had a fantastically lovely comment from the lovely enlightened one Michael, and this was a comment posted on one of my photos with my twin flame lip up. And this is what Michael said, and I thought, okay, let me give you a proper reading on this, because you're gonna need either some hard truth where I'm gonna tell you about yourself, or I'm gonna give you some general guidance. So here is what we got here. Nest Chambers, my love. My twin flame confuses me. One day she misses me and loves me. The next she pulls back, suggests that we remain friends yet go separate ways. I'm like, for real? Seriously? I want to say to her, what the F type of game are you playing with me? Love doesn't look or feel like a game. Love is a daily action that doesn't even need to be expressed verbally. Sorry, 1 second. I love this song, so I'm going to pause it. The word play of back and forth, unsteady, consistent, inconsistency leaves no room for emotional stability, which hurts and pisses me off at the same time. My understanding is that it is what an unsure, confused child does to become comfortable in their choices. Please advise the course of action to handle this shit appropriately with an expected outcome good, look forward to, that has positive resolution. Thanks, love. By the way, that look I commented on, well, I took that as, come on, you know better, handle your business like I know you can, look. Well, yes, sorry, that last bit was, because again, I check out my timeline, you'll totally get it. Anyway, so when I asked Michael whether he wanted to have the truth versus, just guidance, he said, no, give me the truth. So with that being said, I did a little bit of the truth of the heart just to kind of get to the bottom of what I can see within the relationship, or what it is that what's happening here. So I'm going to read what I wrote when I was doing my automatic writing, but also, give you a little bit of further insight as well. So I'll do this here. It's a little lengthy. You can see here that I've got quite a decent amount that I've actually written. So let's get through that here. Okay, so firstly I'm going to break this down, alright? The very first thing that you said here, Michael, was, my twin flame confuses me. And this is going to be for anybody else who's going through, twin flame issues, or, soulmate issues, or anything like that, when you're vibrating very closely with somebody, but it just doesn't seem like it works out all the time. This is, of course, very specific for twin flames as well, because twin flames often have a wider variety of disbalance going. But anyway, I wrote this from my heart. Yes, as she is your opposite, but also your closest vibration. Often your twin flame can reveal, bugger it, I'm not going to read this part, but often your twin flame can reveal the most deepest parts of your own heart. Things that you may be scared of, or that things that you need to improve on. So, and it causes a shitload of confusion, right? Because it's harder to work with it. So, for example, if something let's say your twin is really loud around people, and you're just like, oh, I can't stand how loud how loud she is, or how loud he is. You may find that she's very loud because you are exceptionally quiet, right? You are exactly the same, but you're opposites at the same time. So where the confusion lies, or where the struggle lies, is because you'd be like, please, you just need to stop being so loud. And she'd get all hurt because you're like, I'm not loud, and so forth. It's like, you're too quiet, you never speak. And you'd be like, no, it's just because I don't have anything I want to say to these people, or something like that. But the point is, right, for being twin flames, is to find balance. So to solve this, you would need to increase your volume a bit while she decreases, so that you meet in the middle. And that's how twin flames find balance. But yeah, your twin will confuse the shit out of you, because it's like a bloody roller coaster when you guys are disbalanced. So you then said, one day she misses me and loves me, the next she pulls back, suggests that we remain friends yet go separate ways. I'm like, for real, seriously? I want to say to her, what the F type of game are you playing with me? Let's have a look here. Sorry, there's one other thing that just came to mind. I'm like, oh, I need to do that. Right. Okay, so and this is what I wrote from, of course, your heart. Your twin is going through emotional despair, as you know. Every day is an up or a down, depending on the energies and circumstances. However, what remains is confusion. She doesn't understand her emotions, so she is constantly confused. Like, you know, like, I mean like constantly confused. Very, very indecisive about any decisions to make. Like, if they're life decisions, of course, they can play on her for a while. Or they can be very impulsive decisions that are made without really thinking it through. And also just like, you know, when you have this feeling of this negative feeling that swirls inside you, but you don't know if it's guilt, if it's genuine, like guilt or anxiety, or if it's lust or insecurity or so forth. Like, when we're too busy in our minds, like, as your twin is a bit too busy in her mind, she can't figure out what those emotions are. Like, she can't pinpoint as to what it is what's the problem is, right? So it leads her to be very erratic in her day-to-day life. So she is drawn to you, of course, because that's what twin flames do. You vibrate at the same level, so things that vibrate the closest together come together. But as mentioned, you're both unbalanced, though, right now, emotionally. She can't seem to get out of her mind and thoughts, as I mentioned, and you are far too fixated on feelings and details and lack compassion when you miss the mark, okay? Far, far too fixated on that. But like I mentioned, she can't get out of her head. She really, really, really needs to get out of her head and focus and just relax and find her flow. You know, start taking care of her body, taking care of her mind through meditation and just calm and peace. But right now, like, her mind is full of, it's scattered, like everything is here, her attention is being pulled from here, from here, from here, and it's all because of these swarming emotions, right? Each emotional frequency of negativity from the past experiences that she has experienced that she wasn't unsure about or had more confusion, because she didn't process them, they're all there, which again, in her mind, the energy, whatever it is, if it's still trapped inside you, it'll show up in your mind, right? By either repetitive thoughts, or it'll just pop up. So if she's got years of turmoil, that means that's years of constant thoughts flooding through her mind, and not all of them are positive. It just leads to a lot of confusion. But what I mean is, you get far too fixated on feelings or details and lack compassion when you miss the mark. Well, like I said, from one seer to another, we see truth, we speak truth. And it can be, like, especially if you've not done your own inner work, or not done it extensively, as a seer, we find that we get very frustrated and agitated with individuals who are not being truthful, because their energy, the feelings that they're giving us, doesn't match the words that are coming out. Now, here's the thing. If that individual has a bunch of mixed emotions and feelings, and they're speaking, but you're not understanding that feeling that they are getting as well, so you're getting loads of emotions, but also confusion, and then what they're saying doesn't match. Anything doesn't match, so it's just like, rah! It can be really, really, really frustrating. But like I say, you get fixated on the feelings, so the feelings that are coming through, like, you know, where they feel false and they don't feel right, you get fixated on those. And so it stops you from being able to well, sorry, the feelings and the fine details, and it stops you from being able to like take a step back and look at the whole picture, because compassion requires you to be aware, to use your awareness, but also kindness, right? Along with that. So again, these feelings stop you from looking at the bigger picture and taking into consideration other outside factors that may be resulting in this disagreement, right? And like I say, like and when you didn't get these feelings right that you're feeling because you couldn't pinpoint them, you lack compassion when you are speaking to her, and you when you miss the mark, right? So kind of instead of going like, oh babe, I'm sorry, you know, like I'm looking at the bigger picture now and I get it. You're kind of just like, well, if you didn't do this, or if you didn't change, or if like, and it's like a lack of compassion. Like you gotta. I'm not saying she's an angel, and well, yeah, but you know, like I'm not saying she is, you know, like oh my gosh, a saint that should be like, oh, you should just, you know, worship the ground she walks on or anything. I'm not saying that you have to do that. I'm just saying that compassion goes a long way. Although she is an angel, and you know, as long as she heals herself, you would no doubt get to the point where you're like, I love you so much. Well, it's 4:45 in the morning. Like, you know what I mean. Look into my eyes, see the truth. Okay. So yes. Anyway, you lie to each other quite often about what you truly want and who you truly are behind your fears, right? And so what I mean by you lie to each other is she wants comfort, security, compassion, and love, acceptance, closeness, and sincerity, right? However, she doesn't realize that she pushes you away and often confuses her negative energy with your own negative energy, or you confuse her negative energy with your own negative energy, and you guys are just feeling this like confusion because you're both empathic. But she does this with a lot of people, to be honest. It's not just you that she does this with, like confusing the energies. She does this with a lot of people, and again, it comes from her own lack of acceptance and lack of processing this this energy, right? This is where compassion comes in, because when you know she's an empath and that she needs healing, it's like trying to condemn a person with the flu for sneezing or for being in bed, and it's like, well, they're ill. You can't condemn them for it, but you can, you know, help them through. You can ask them to be courteous when blowing their nose, you know, and not like throw their tissues absolutely everywhere or something like that. Like, but you can't have compassion and just be like, okay, I'm gonna look at this situation differently and act differently because I know the circumstances of your illness are going to take some time to get over, you know. So you, on the other hand, though, you are suffering from so many past hurts and traumas. You have your own insecurities, trust issues, and self-acceptance without defense, okay? Like, which of course comes with the past hurts and insecurities and so forth, but, you know, self-acceptance without defense, meaning that you defend yourself quite a lot, right? And when you truly accept yourself, you don't defend yourself, right? Because you know that there's nothing to... Sorry, I don't mean like... You, of course, always defend yourself, like, you know, but you don't have to defend your words. You don't have to defend your truth. Such as, for example, like, you know me, like, I love myself fully. I accept myself. I trust myself and my words because I am a seer and I know what truth is and I know what truth feels like, right? And I know when, you know, a lie is being told, and I know when I'm lying to myself if I'm, you know, in a bad headspace or anything like that, right? And because I have this full self-acceptance, it means that it doesn't matter what anybody says to me. It doesn't matter to me, right? It'll one ear out the other, because, like, I know who I am. Nobody can tell me who I am. So because of that, I don't react, or I don't get defensive, or I don't get, like, You know, if somebody wants to say like, oh, you know, you're a witch, or you know, like you're like this or that, I'll be like, that's fine, take care, you know, because it's like it doesn't matter. But also, you are very condescending. All right, you are on your path of awakening. You do see a lot of things that other people can't see because, you know, we're seers. We see things. It is to see. We are seers. Seers. We are seers. We are seers of the truth. But you can be condescending. All right, you can be condescending, and the thing is, what we have to remember is just because somebody is asleep doesn't mean that they are any less intelligent than you are, or I am, or, you know, we have to just remember that everybody is on their journey and they will all wake up at different times, right? If they do choose to wake up. So we don't want to be judgmental or condescending or looking down on another individual, whether they are your twin flame or anybody else, just because they are asleep and they can't get the frequency that you're on right now, right? Again, doesn't make them stupid. It just means that they have a lack of perspective right now. So if you really, really, really want to, so don't condescend, don't be condescending with people, don't put them down for not knowing what you know, but more so use your compassion, use your empathy to help heal them so that they can understand, right? Because it's like an automatic thing. Like once you raise to a certain level of frequency, you don't have to try to explain things because people automatically find the patterns, right? So that's why you can have like great conversations and, you know, without having to do much or say much or, you know, things like that. But yeah, so you are very condescending, my dear. You use your words, by the way, also as your shield and sword. Your energy can be overwhelming, all right? When you're angry or confused or upset. You are of the male or the masculine energy, which the male and masculine energy is that of the earth, right? Female is that of the ethereal. We are close to the veil, whereas males are close to the earth, and that's why we need a good union, especially in twin flames, right? Because you are there to support her to bring her down, and she is here to support you to bring you up, right? However, when you are really high in the ethereal, like women are normally, it means we're more so inside our head quite a lot, right? Whereas males, or guys in the male, you know, in the male energy, they are, because they're of the earth, they feel a lot more. Feelings can be really intense, where thoughts and control for women, we have our emotions, well, everybody has their emotions through thoughts, but we really live in our heads, and guys live in their feelings because it is the base. So you use your words as your shield and sword, okay? This is why, you know, when people are like, oh, your words cut like a knife, well, it's like, yeah, your words are not only your shield, but they are your sword. It's your weapon of choice. Now, your energy can, like I mentioned, can be overwhelming when you're angry, confused, or upset, because you generate so much that of that emotion comes out, like it's strong. So again, that's why she feels it, and people can be triggered by that. This can also make you feel like, you know, those defensive feelings, because when you're speaking to an individual and they're not understanding you, and you may be getting frustrated, you could be generating a shitload of energy with that frustration, but you're like, I'm just a little bit frustrated because you're not telling the truth, or you're not being progressive in that way. However, when they feel you, it's amplified. It's like really, really strong. So instead of you're just like, oh, I'm just a little bit annoyed, to them you're putting out, get the F out of my space, you idiot. You know, that kind of thing. And which can then get them defensive, which then when you start to feel their defensive energy, it puts you on a defensive, and then it like, you know, push and force and so forth, right? Or, you know, also another thing is like, if you feel that they are not enlightened enough and they are coming across as, you know, they're not saying the right things that you want them to say, or they're not seeing it from your perspective, you can again become condescending and just be like, you know, like, why don't you know this kind of thing? Wake up, like, so forth and so on and so forth. So just be aware of that. Now, but this does lead to your twin feeling this energy, and then it amplifies again the negative energy that is within her because she's not triggered. which then triggers you even more, and so this is where the things can start to blow up anyway. But I want you guys to know it's not that you're a bad guy. I'm not trying to say you're a bad guy in any way, and she's definitely not a bad woman. You guys are not bad people, all right? And you should definitely not be judged, nor should you be condemned for whatever goes on in your relationship, as long as everybody is, of course. There's no violence or anything. But it's just that you're both ill, and you need to recognize when you're... Okay, let me just read this out the way we've got here, so I'm not getting this in. It's not that you are a bad guy, or that she's a bad woman. It's just that you're both too ill to recognize when you're sneezing all over each other and causing each other pain, as you're so focused on and fixated on what it is you feel personally, both of you. So it takes away from looking at the situation rationally, with compassion and understanding on both of your ends at the same time. So, so what I mean by like you both need to recognize you're ill and like when you're sneezing all over each other, because right now like you're on your path to awakening, but you still have a lot of work to do, and so does she. So you're both, it's like you both have the cold and the flu, right? But you don't know it. But every time you keep sneezing in each other's faces, getting each other even more ill, and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, you're just like, why isn't this working? And it's like you gotta recognize that you need healing too, right? Really, really, really important. So again, there's no kind of blame, there's no kind of fault. There's like, you guys are just going through a lesson right now. You're just going through a lesson, and the sooner you learn it, the faster you never have to repeat it. But you still have to, you just bloody well have to go through it. Every twin bloody well has to do this when we're going through this. The lies you tell each other as well, because you don't want to hurt each other's feelings, okay? But your energy doesn't lie, so it causes confusion also. She says, let's be together, but in reality feels apprehensive, but doesn't understand why truly. And you are too hot-headed at times. It's like walking on eggshells around you. If one crack is made, like I just want you to think of you are in this pillar, like you're like this pillar of just truth, right? And there's a bunch of eggshells just littering the floor around you. And people have got to walk really carefully, because they have to walk in truth with it around you, so their energy doesn't pick up. But you got to remember, everybody's ill right now. Like, so many people are still so very ill. So when they're talking to you, they're going to speak in lies. You know, they're going to speak in manipulations and deceit. But it's not out of an intentional... well, there's some people who are intentionally vicious. But, you know, when you are dealing with somebody you love, it's not necessarily out of an intention to lie to you. But it could just be that it is because they're in the patterns of doing so, or again, they don't understand what it is they're feeling, so they just kind of blurt out whatever it is. But when you are a hot-headed seer, that means that if they step on an eggshell of a lie, or even if it's just a smallest bit, you're just like, what did you say? That's not right. You know, that kind of thing. Now... So if one crack is made, you can turn your focus and bring out your sword, your words, if you're not satisfied with the ultimate truth that you're feeling, being told, that does or does not resonate with your energy and feeling at the time. So basically, you're going to call people out on the feelings that you have. So that's why it's like walking on eggshells. But again, you both lie to each other, because at the end of the day, when you also get into a position where, let's say you just wanted to tell her up front, you know, like, you weren't satisfied. You weren't satisfied in the relationship because you... well, I don't want to put words into your mouth or anything, and I definitely don't want it to influence anything, but let's have a look here. Let's say that she saw you looking at another woman. You know, like your neck was turned, like you were walking down the street with each other, and you know you saw a beautiful woman, and your neck turned, right? Now she would be like, she probably wouldn't say anything, or she'd probably just start to feel really like, I saw that, but she wouldn't say anything. So she's feeling like she's feeling jealous, or she's feeling hurt because you've looked, but she's now refusing to tell you about it because she feels like, oh, maybe you won't, she's just mad at you. Like, why are you looking at other women, right? However, if she would have just told you that, because you're going to feel her energy, right? You're going to feel that energy from her where something's wrong. And then you're going to ask her what's wrong, and she's going to be like, nothing. Lie. Right? So she's already lied to you there. And then that's going to leave you guessing, like, and confuse you, like, well, what's happening? Because you may have looked at that woman, or let's say, like, you may have looked at that woman, and now there could be any reason for that, right? Right? Maybe she asked you, or maybe she did actually tell you, in this situation, she's like, you know what, I saw you looking at that chick. That's why I'm actually upset. Because you coaxed it out of her. It's like, that's why I'm upset. And you may be like, what? I wasn't looking at her like, oh, like, it's not even like that, or like, when you could simply turn out and say, like, you know what, yeah, I was looking. She was an attractive woman. I'm sorry. Or if you are sorry or not, maybe you're not sorry. Maybe you're just like, you know what, babe, I have to be honest with you. I do look at other women. I do. I love you so very much, but I look at other women sometimes. Which sounds very, very insincere, but it is still the truth. But you also have to decide, like, why is it that you're looking at other women, though? Why do you like that? So that you can not hide it from her or not make an excuse for it, but so that you could just tell her, like, I appreciate the female form. It's not that I'm like I want to jump into bed with another woman or anything, but, I see a pretty face and I look. And, like, just how, if you see a handsome man, I'm sure you're going to look. Just the same kind of thing. It's just blatant, right? Now, whether she accepts that or not, that's another thing. However, you still have to be truthful, right? Now, you also said, love doesn't look or feel like a game. Love is a daily action that doesn't even need to be expressed verbally. Now, I'm going to comment on this one just because I'm like, yeah, there's truth and lies in that one. Well, not truth and lies, but, like, it could be looked at in a different way. But anyway, I'll just give you my perspective on this. Love is unconditional and total acceptance. It is the universal algorithm of self-organization. It literally is self-sustaining love, light, energy, it is development, it is progression, it's generation, right? But it does always need to be expressed. Just because we feel love doesn't mean and I'm not saying you're saying like, oh, I didn't say you don't express love there, Kulipup. Like, I know that, but I'm just saying that to say that, oh, it doesn't need to be even expressed verbally. Well, to speak within this matrix game of life is to speak your power, is to manifest your power. When you are being verbal, you are being more precise, especially when you understand what it is you're verbalizing. So if you want to express your love and you have it genuinely in your heart, what better way is it to speak it? Because not only will you have the verbal confirmation of the understanding of your energy, but the other individual or animal or whatever is also going to feel your energy. So matching your energy, your heart, and your words at the same time when they're married, it is a beautiful, beautiful moment. It is what helps people resonate with you. It is what helps people get drawn to you and know the truth and feel the truth and just... So when you say it doesn't even need to be expressed verbally, well, like, it doesn't, technically you're right, it doesn't need to be, but it is very, very, very beneficial. Just like you don't need a piece of cake, but every now and then it's very, very, very beneficial. You don't need a spliff, but it's very, very beneficial. But not only that, the feeling of love is one thing, but again, the expression of it generates your power. Okay, so I just thought I'd put my 2 cents on that. Now, we're getting to the end of this, I promise. Now, the wordplay back, so you say the wordplay back and forth, unsteady, consistent, inconsistency, leaves no room for emotional stability, which hurts and pisses me off at the same time. My understanding is that what an what an unsure, confused child does to become comfortable in their choices. Condescending, because you are literally there directly saying that your twin flame is a confused child, right? And that is condescending, sweetheart. So you asked me, like, my understanding is that is what an unsure, confused child does to be comfortable in their choices. However, if you really want her to be comfortable in her choices, she's got to do some inner work. You've got to do some inner work. You can't control if and when another individual does their inner work and wants to work on themselves, even if you are a twin, right? Like, this is the time for all twin flames to attract, because we're all getting enough energy to draw us in this lifetime, even though we're in lower frequencies. But that doesn't mean that every twin flame is going to be successful in this lifetime upon their journey, because we incarnate within each other. But because the game was won and because we are progressing and developing, it's kind of like there's no need for you to come together anymore. Like, it's not as imperative, because it was the twin flames, it was just one twin flame set that was going to come together to generate enough energy and awaken, that was going to trigger the energies for the other developments of everybody else. But that twin flame set has been completed, so all the other twins can either now come and join, because it's not like the purpose has been completed, right? And again, the purpose was to all twin flames were summoned together so that we could join together, and whichever twin flame set had the most energies generated through their love would elevate to the frequencies required to trigger the age of Aquarius to formally come in. But anyway, so that flame set has been found and completed, so it just means that all the other twin flames, you no longer have like an obligation to try to be together, or like the universe is just like, no, that's fine, just go live happily now, we kind of completed our purpose. So not everyone will be successful, and at the end of the day, you're saying, like, the constant wordplay back and forth and steady, consistent inconsistency leaves no room for emotional stability. Yeah, because you guys still got to do your inner work. You can't expect to have a roller coaster of emotions inside you and for it to just simply be calm whenever you want it to be, at your will. If you do not process it, you need to release it. So you do inner work, and you can't control if and when another individual completes their inner work, but you can complete your own to stop your reactions from getting out of control. All right. So with that, if you don't like the wordplay back and forth, and she's not willing to do her inner work, at least you can do some, right? Then you can understand the situation. You can at least not be so confused in what you do and in the actions that you want to take with the relationship moving forward. And if she doesn't want to do her inner work, and you're just like, you know what, I can't live like this, then that's fair, right? You do not have to. You do not have to. But if you are staying within a relationship because of fear of loss, then you're making a decision based on fear, and it is only going to lead to your unhappiness, right, at the end of the day. So I just want you to bear that in mind. Now, you said, and of course I'm going down to my last bit, says, you said, please advise the course of action to handle this shit appropriately with an expected outcome. Look forward to that has positive resolutions. Okay, so I'm going to give you 3 steps. All right, these are broad, but they're basic, but they are, like, if you follow these 3 steps, you can get through so very much within a relationship if you go on these base kind of foundations. Sorry, sternum. Step 1, you need to complete your own inner work. to understand your insecurity, all right? Process your trust issues, and discover the real reasons why you lack self-acceptance to the fullest as well. And again, no, I don't believe you dislike yourself. That's not what I'm trying to say, and I do believe that you are a strong individual, very strong in that sense. However, I am just saying, like, you have insecurities. You do get defensive. You do think you got to understand why you react in certain ways to certain emotions. Okay, so that they don't grip you in any way. So anyway, when you accept yourself, at the end of the day, nothing can shake you, right? Your decision making is clear, and you'll know that regardless if the situation seems testy or painful at that time, just know that when you're making decisions out of self-acceptance, out of love, out of compassion, kindness, and consideration, that is what is going to come back to you, even though it feels like it may hurt in the moment. Good things will come from good decisions. But again, you got to do your inner work in order to be able to accept that and move forward. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, speak only truth, all right? And I don't mean just to the general public. Like, I don't mean like sharing just cool memes that are truthful, or like, the truth about the government, or the truth of it. I mean speak truthfully to yourself and to others. Especially the ones who you love and are closest to you. If you're scared of hurting someone's feelings, you will cause more damage internally rather than externally, right? So, for example, if you wanted to tell your partner that, look, I'm not happy with your cleaning, right? Or let's say, like, you go to work and you come home and your partner doesn't work and you have no children or anything like that because you're young people. Again, being considerate of the circumstances. But let's say that you come home and like the other half is not doing their half of the chores, right? So you're just like tired and you're like, I can't do this. Now, often, again, people would lie and just be like, I need a little help here, right? Which is good, but that's not the truth. The truth is, although it's like, send me the truth would be, you'd be like, I'm upset. I'm upset that I go to work all day, and that I come home and not only do I have to clean up, from me, which is expected, but I have to clean up after you too, when it's just not fair. I feel hurt by this because it makes me feel like you don't care about me, that you don't see what it is that I do. It makes me just feel like literally I'm not important in this relationship, and I want to know what we can do about it, right? So you speak truthfully, right? But a lot of people don't want to do that. They want to avoid it. They just be like, oh, can you pick up your socks, please? And it's like, that's not what you truly feel. You really are upset, so speak it. Because again, even if an individual gets upset, we're just like, oh, you told me to clean up, and they start crying. When you're so truthful and when you're solid in that truth, and you're just like, look, we got to get this sorted out, but this is the truth. I'm not happy. Then you can move forward. Then you can literally move forward when you speak from the heart, okay, in everything. And again, don't lie to yourself either. Don't try to tell yourself what she's thinking or things like that, and then formulate opinions and perspectives in your mind when you're kind of basing it off of a hot-headed kind of energy that's coming through, right? So again, speak truthfully. Speak truthfully so that the energy doesn't pool and that it can flow out of you freely, and then things can progress and things can work. And step number 3, acceptance. You need to accept whatever comes out of this, right? Because like I mentioned, if you've made a decision that is within truth, that is within love, that is within the best decision for you, and you made it consciously, then that was your request to the universe, right? To give me what it is I'm giving back out. And that means that you just have to accept what comes next. Because even if it hurts in that moment, like I was mentioning, even if it hurts in that moment, you will find, though, that the outcome will be beneficial, right? And you'll get through these hard moments so much faster, right? Like, when Lip and I have an issue, we can get through things in a matter of hours versus the average individual who would take weeks and months to do it, just simply because, we're speaking truthfully with each other. And we love each other. We don't want to hurt each other. So we speak it and we say it. Even it doesn't matter even if it's the littlest thing. And don't get me wrong, we're still it's a different concept because everybody's so used to telling these fibs to save face or save feelings, but and don't get me wrong, like for years within Kulipup and I's relationship, we did the same thing, I would be like, oh, it's fine, when I was really stressed and overworked. And he would give so much. And I'd be like, stop giving, because you can feel like you don't want to do this, but he would overly sacrifice, right? And we would do that, but until one day it just clicked, like, you know what, this isn't working. This part of our twin flame union is like, it isn't working, like, trying to cater so much to each other. So we decided to be like, you know what, we're not trying anymore, because love isn't about like force. You don't have to try. We just said to each other, you know what, we're just going to speak truthfully and super honest, super bluntly about anything and absolutely everything that we feel and that's on our minds. And as soon as we made that decision to do that, we found that years of pent up, like, energies and stuff just flooded right out. And because it was out, the truth does set you free, and especially being a seer, and Kulipup is an incredibly sensitive empath. Like, incredibly sensitive to the point where you're just like, you're reading my freaking mind, empath. He's freaking awesome. But anyway, so you can see that it just sets you free, the truth. So, but also, again, accepting whatever comes out. I had to accept Kulipup for who he was and everything in his being, and I'm happy to do so, flaws and all. And he did the same to me. But anyway, that's how you move forward. But I hope that helps. I know I've been speaking now for like 45 minutes. This is a long reading, but I do believe that it's going to help a lot more other individuals. And thank you ever so much for submitting that question, because it gave me something to do, considering it's still so very early and I'm like, I'm awake. I might do some yoga. Anyway, take care, and I love you to pieces, and I hope you really do get this sorted out. And there may be a lot of things that you're just plainly right out disagreed with me on this one, but I'm like, you gotta feel your heart, seer to seer. Ego, just tell it to bugger off for a moment. That subconscious entity, tell it to bugger off and not cloud, and just feel the words with your heart. Alright? Okay. Love you. Bye, hon.